So, I'm back today for another replay. It just so happened to be a game that I just finished playing, which I thought it's worthwhile sharing. It's not a game in which you will notice, classical destroyer play where, you end up with 200 plus K damage and you've got 5 kills. It's nothing like that. This is just a showcase of the kind of decision making that went through my mind in order to try and get the best possible outcome in this game. Obviously we all are trying to win at all times, so I tried my best to make the kind of decisions that can be beneficial to the team. Now the first thing that I noticed is that there is indeed 4 destroyers on each side, and that the enemy destroyers are essentially the Sims, the Kiev, a Cossack and a Fubuki. Now the Fubuki, the Kiev and the Sims don't bother me too much, seeing as those 3 ships have a much larger concealment radius than what I have. So I will outspot them quite comfortably, seeing as my concealment's only 5.5. But I also know that the enemy's got a Cossack, which is obviously the same as me, and I did not want to get into a position where I don't have support ships behind me with guns out on the water that can shoot at targets that might spot me. Otherwise I'm going to pick up unnecessary damage. Hence the reason that I slowed down quite a bit there, just to allow the Chapayev and the Asashio to round their individual corners so that we can have additional guns out should anything be spotted. I noticed that at Dunkirk is spotted, but it's so far away that there's basically no cause for concern. And look, a Kiev appears out of nowhere. Now I hold my fire here specifically and I prompt the team to start shooting at the target. You get chunked quite badly, but I'm trying to keep eyes on him for as long as possible without giving away my own position, so that we can get some free damage on him. If I have to shoot at him and he needs to shoot back at me, he can kill me quite comfortably, because that Kiev guns ain't nothing to be sad about. Those guns are quite powerful, and there's a reason that those Russian destroyers are seen as destroyer killers. Fortunately for me, I also noticed that the Kiev is not alone. He's accompanied by the Sims, and both those ships have a much larger concealment radius than what I have. So if I start spotting them, there's no way that they can start spotting me unless I make a big mistake in my play. Kiev is busy sailing away from us, and I'm thinking the Gneisenau is going to be rounding an island at the top, but my torpedoes should be back online to torpedo him if need be, so I'm sending a salvo in the direction of the Dunkirk, just in case he, sailing towards that small little island in front, decides to turn in towards them. He might eat 1 or 2 on the nose that will cause a flood, and who knows, maybe the Chapayev can then burn him down. I'm on top of the Gneisenau much quicker than what I expected. So I break speed, I turn away, and I just try and spot again for my friendly ships to be able to shoot at him. Now, one thing to take note of though, if you count the Nagato that is currently sitting in the middle of the enemy camp as part of this specific flank, there's essentially 6 ships on this flank that could cause damage to any one of us, versus only 4 ships that are in any sort of a position to do anything about their advance on this end. So I'm trying to stay as close as possible to these ships so that they know I'm there, they just can't spot me, and that they need to be wary with regards to where they push into and when they're going to be doing it. My torpedoes come back online, and as you see, I didn't drop it on the torpedo marker, simply because that ship was in a very aggressive left turn, and he was going to make a beeline for that gap behind the island, and he's obviously going to pick up speed. So I'm hoping he's going to meet the torpedoes about 7 kilometers out. Still, there's the Sims again, and I'm thinking, right, with the Nizer now disappearing behind the island, maybe I can get 1 or 2 free salvos in at the Sims. But he's busy turning away, so I let him go. And all I'm thinking at this point is, where on earth is our next play going to come from? Bang! 3 torpedoes on the Nizer now. Now I know, based on the torpedoes, that he flooded, so he must have hit his damage control. So now I'm trying to find a way in which I can position myself so I can set fires on him without drawing unnecessary fire on onto myself. The quicker you can get enemy guns out of the game, the better. Unfortunately for me, my first salvo was an AP salvo, and as you can see, all 6 of them land, but they all ricochet. It was a bit of a derp moment, but hopefully I can get a fire started on him. I keep firing, and I noticed that the Sims all of a sudden popped up, so I knew he fired on me as well. And I'm trying to fight the Nizer now at range. I know he's only got 6 shells at his disposal at any given point in time, which are reasonably accurate, but not majorly accurate. And even if 2 of them hit, you know, it's only going to be a couple of overpens on my ship. And I do have an 18,000 health pool. So I'm willing to shoot at him in the open, but at range to minimize the amount of shells that could possibly hit me in return. The moment I saw the Leander shells come flying across my ship, I knew I need to stop shooting, because now I've essentially put myself in a position where I can get crossfired. So I'm maneuvering the ship in a way that I'm unpredictable for the ships to hit, and I'm disengaging completely, and I am regrouping, surveying my surroundings and checking out what my next play possibly could be. So I line up a broadside Sims, basically nail him just about on the back end of his ship, send out another salvo, and I think to myself, nah, it's not worth it. Just hang back a little bit, see what else is going to come up. And I notice the Nizer now is basically sailing towards the outside of the map again. And this is essentially what you want as a destroyer. You want ships to isolate themselves, especially when there's no radar around, you know, no radar and no hydro, and there's no cruisers that's fast firing and that can remove destroyers in quick fashion. That's what you want as a destroyer. So I'm making a beeline for the island, hoping to spot him at some point. From his last known position, it looks as if he's going to round the island on the outside. So I'm pointing myself in that direction already, just to make sure that if he comes around that corner that I can get torpedoes on him quickly. Nothing else is spotting me at the moment. And the 4 ships and the 3 ships we had in the back are now pushing a little bit further down along with me. We were at a ship disadvantage like a minute or so ago, but we've now pulled one back and we are now holding a very, very small points lead. But we are 2 destroyers down. So I know me surviving is going to be critical to the outcome of this game. Now you're going to see one of the plays that I decided to make here that is going to be in my best interests. I sent torpedoes out at him, but the moment I let go of the torpedoes, I knew that in all likelihood they are going to miss, simply because he was just pulling out from behind that island and he's still going to gain speed. But I held on to my main battery fire for a very good reason. Battleships, especially at these tiers, don't have a very fast gun traverse speed. The greater the angle that you create between where their guns are pointed versus where you are going, the more unlikely it's going to be for them to actually get guns on you quite quickly. And in shooting at him, I was hoping he would try and do that at least, so he can break speed and maybe eat a torpedo, which he didn't do. But now I find myself in a position where I can get some free damage on the ship because I'm behind an island. Nothing else is spotting me, nothing else is inside my gun firing range, and I can burn him down quite comfortably. He's not even making an attempt to get his guns turned around on me. And he's dead. So, still not detected. 1 kill under the belt, only 50k damage. Now we've got a 200, almost 250 point lead, 240 points. In and of itself, that doesn't seem too bad. But never ever underestimate the power of players that seem quite intent on suiciding. So just realize that the outcome of this game is by no means decided as yet. So moving in towards the Leander, I know that he's got hydro, possibly, and I know that he's got torpedoes, and I know that he's got relatively fast firing AP shells that can do a real number on any destroyer that gets too close. So I don't want to give away my position completely. I need to pick a slow moving target, and now I notice that the Nagato is basically backing up, which makes him a prime torpedo target. At this point I'm now starting to wonder where the rest of the destroyers are, because I'm not seeing any of them. And I want to drop torpedoes on the Nagato, and as I turn I notice the sims pop up on the right hand side of my screen. So I knew I've got maybe 400 meters before he spots me, and there we go. Spotted me, and now I absolutely have to shoot out in the open, catch him with the AP salvo, smoke up, and fire at him. Now, the reason I smoked up there was because I want to be in a position where I can get guns on all 3 ships if they are no longer detecting me. Knowing that I'm the only ship in the area, it would also give them incentive to blind fire into the smoke, which will give me an opportunity to maybe kill one of these destroyers. So now I'm just backing up. Yes, I'm burning quite handsomely, but I also know that fires on destroyers don't do a heck of a lot of damage. So I make sure that my shots are true. Sim is dead. Now I want to send my torpedoes in the direction of the Nagato, and still he hasn't changed his direction that he's moving in, even though he saw that there's a smoke cloud on my end. And oh my word, a Leander pops up. Remember, my detection range 5.5, and I am screaming at myself, turning away feverishly, and I managed to remain undetected. Now I'm hoping that I can actually still get a torpedo hit in. I don't want to fire blindly. There's too many of them that's well within range of me that can absolutely wreck me, and I don't have a lot of HP left. The Fubuki is full health. Most people don't regard the Fubuki as a gunboat of sorts, but what people sometimes don't realize is when you are low health like this, you can be in a Kawarosk and a Fubuki can still take you down. So it is well within my rights to not fire while in the open, smoke up, fire last known position, and I do get a hit on him. Problem is, I was the one spotting them. So the only thing left to do is to send torpedoes and see what else I can spot. And luckily for me, the Nagato is either spotted by something in the distance, or we opened up with his main batteries, and he presents himself to me. Trying to get a fire on him after that torpedo landed on him, knowing that he repaired a flood, but no luck. And my smoke is about to run out, so I can't necessarily stay over here. I know the Leander was moving away, the Nagato is moving away. I'm in no risk of being spotted except if the Fubuki is in the area. So now I need to defend myself. Luckily the Cossacks got amazing guns. And not only is the Fubuki not really a gun, but it's also piloted by someone that can't shoot, consistently landing his shells behind me. So I'm trying to make him pay for that transgression by chunking him regularly with fair amounts of damage. Another 1,400 there, and my smoke back up. So now I'm smoking to try and keep myself safe from this Leander behind me. Now I'm down to about 3,000 health, and now we're also losing by 85 points. We can't afford to lose any more ships right now. So I'm trying my damnedest to stay alive and see what else I can do, and hopefully I can get a torpedo landed on a target and maybe get a kill that way. But for that to happen, I absolutely have to get that Fubuki dead, because he's the one thing that can put a wrench in the works here if I don't pay attention to my flank and he rushes me and he spots me and 3 ships are shooting at me. Nagato goes down. Now ship counts equal. We are now leading by a very small margin, but these things can change very rapidly. Still searching for the Fubuki. Don't really see him anywhere. I had an idea that he would have gone maybe towards that island in which my, to where my crosshair is pointed right now, but there was no way of knowing for sure. Then I noticed the Leander behind me, turning broadside, moving away from me. And I'm thinking, well, 10-kilometer torpedoes, speculative torpedoes. I'm not really going to use my torpedoes on the Fubuki if I do see him, so I may just as well send it. Let's see what comes from it. If he remains broadside to me, remains at the same speed to me, maybe I get lucky with a torpedo hit or 2. Having a look at the Leander, torps still look true, direction of the ship still looks true, and I'm hoping please don't run out of range. That's all I'm waiting for. Now I notice the Helena and the Fubuki. Fubuki still, I'm inside his detection range, but he doesn't know I'm here. So I smoke up to try and maybe get a salvo off on the Helena, because that is low health. If I can get him gone, then one of my biggest threats right now for being in this game is also removed. So I get 2 torpedoes in the distance. Fiji is now low health, Fubuki is low health, Helena is low health. The only ship that does provide us with a bit of an issue here is maybe the Otago, but the Otago's got a relatively long reload, so you can rest assured that you do have time to dodge incoming shells if you absolutely have to. But I don't want to fire out in the open. I played around with the idea of maybe shooting over that island in the direction of the Helena. I could probably kill him off in maybe 1 or 2 salvos at most, but I didn't know who was close enough to me to cause serious damage to me while I'm trying to reposition. So I'm just playing the waiting game. And now I notice this little smoke cloud over here, and I'm thinking, well, my hydro is still up. I may just as well have a sly little peek over here, get fresh with the Fubuki, if you know what I mean. Helena goes down. Now we have another points lead. I also noticed that our Leander and our Chapayev are low on health, and there's the Fubuki. And before he can even get his guns out on me, he's dead. Hydro's still up, so I can spot possible torpedoes coming my direction. There don't seem to be any. And the Chapayev falls. This is where I'm stressing a little bit, because I've done my absolute best to try and isolate ships, kill them as need be, try and orchestrate a win for the team, and I'm not quite sure whether or not the Queen Elizabeth is going to be on board. So I do type out a message asking him to please just stay alive, don't do anything, just stay where you are. Last known position of the Otago was inside their own cap, or roughly in that area, in their spawn. So I sent torpedoes out into that gap, hopefully, maybe hitting something, but deliberately sailing very wide. I don't want to give them even the slightest sniff at my position. And there he is. There's the Otago, and for some reason he's not even trying to sail towards our cap to try and stop our cap for maybe 10 seconds, which would probably have handed them the victory. So with the clock ticking down, with about 30 odd seconds to go, the only thing remaining to do right now is just be patient and let the clock run out. Leander is too far away to do anything. The Otago's torps can't penetrate islands, and he made the incorrect decision by sailing back into his own cap. So this match is basically over, and we have won. So let's get to the results screen. As you can see here, it wasn't too bad a game. It's not spectacular, but I basically did what destroyers do, as much as you possibly can. Recognize that you are the one that outspots everyone. Play accordingly. Try and isolate ships, and put yourself in positions where you can do damage to ships where they are going to find it difficult to do the same back to you. You don't have a big health pool to work with, but there's no reason why you can't have a very, very large impact on the game. 129,000 damage, 3 kills, 6 torpedo hits and 6 flooding, 7 fires. I spotted 6 ships. Now that in and of itself should tell you what I recognized my ship's role to be and how I ended up playing my ship. And here you can see 2,000 base experience, top of the team, 3 kills. Chapayev in second position with 4 kills, which makes it 7 kills combined between our two ships. The Chapayev on 1,800 base experience. And then a bit of a gulf between him and the person in second position. And as you'll notice, the large parts of our team was actually outclassed by the enemy team. From 10th position all the way through to round about 4th, maybe even 3rd position, the equivalent experience for winning the game was not as much as you would expect from a team that would win a game like this, which lends credence to the fact that there was a rather large carry on my end as well as on the Chapayev's end with regards to the outcome of this game. I mean, we only won the game by like 5 points essentially at the end of the 20 minutes, at the end of the full 20 minutes. And there was very little happening from about, let's say, for argument's sake, 4th position downwards. So it was a good enough game. It was a well-played game, and it's a game that I feel reasonably proud about. Congratulations to the Chapayev as well. He pulled his weight, definitely. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again for another replay. Ciao.